We got to be able to set boundaries in life, and it's the hardest with the people that we love. It's the hardest with situations where we're not feeling entirely comfortable with ourselves. My name is Turab. I make videos about emotional intelligence and personal development every single day. And today I want to talk about how to set boundaries and come to terms with them. I have drastically changed the way that I talk to my family, drastically changed the way that I am allowing time to be utilized in my life. Partially via the inspiration from Alex Ramosi, but partially because I realize spending time alone can be very unproductive and it can be very, very productive. And it just really comes down to the things the things in our environment that influence that time. So setting boundaries, if you live with your parents right now, right, you need to understand, if you're below the age of 18, chances are there's things about the world that you know, but if you're watching videos like this, chances are you've been through some shit. Your parents know things. Sure, they perhaps know a little bit more about finance than you. They perhaps know a little bit more about relationships than you. Perhaps they know a little bit more about a million things than you, right? Which is totally good. You should be using that as a viewpoint, but at some point when you have a goal that they can't understand, that people around you can't understand, you gotta kind of just move. You gotta move under your own pressure, and that means that saying no to things becomes all the more relevant. My overarching philosophy on trying new things in general is do so much of something that you know when not to do it. So if you're someone that's been taken advantage of, taken for granted for a long, long time, then you know what it feels like to be taken for granted, and you know that without having that wall up, without having that conversation, without having that amount of self-appreciation, that you will consistently be taken advantage of, and it's usually from the same people. So, say you play a lot of video games, right? You play video games to the nth degree until you fail classes, and you end up waking up super early, and then that happens so many times that hopefully you get to a point where you're like, yo, I can't fucking do this anymore, dude. Time to unplug the Xbox and get rid of it, right? Or the PS4 or whatever. Go on enough dates, have enough sex, anything. Yes, I understand. I know you don't understand. But the reality is, if we don't try a bunch of different things, we're not going to set the boundaries that are appropriate, right? If we don't have those, if we don't set those hardcore boundaries that people have to push up against, we're not going to know what it feels like for people to push up against those boundaries. And so I say this to you out of the utmost respect for your time, and hopefully you're watching this video with that in mind. Setting boundaries is key. Setting goals that require boundaries is the first step to setting boundaries, though. And those goals need to come from a deep place in your heart. They need to come from that flow state that you've gotten in life. When I make these videos, when I speak to you through the interwebs, the ether, I get excited, right? I'm looking at a fucking computer screen, but I get excited to be able to communicate things that have happened to me to you. Hopefully things that inspire you to be the best version of yourself. And that means that I should probably continue doing it. Because at the end of the day, why would I live my life based on what someone else thinks is a good time? Most of you, I assume, watching these videos don't like talking to cameras, don't like talking in general. And most people are not me. Most people are not you. And that's something we need to understand. Because as we get into our 20s, I'm about to be 28 actually next week, we begin to understand more and more about ourselves. And it's okay, it's going to take some time to do that. If you're earlier on in the process, I applaud you. If you're later on in the process, I still applaud you. Working on personal development in general is key to living a happy, resentment-free life. The worst person is going to be the one that consistently blames themselves and then doesn't change. That is the worst human being that anyone can possibly be, genuinely. And so it's going to require a consistent motivation, and the motivation comes from goals that are aligned with the thing that you love to do. So Turabify Co. A lot of people are like, "There's a lofty ass goal, dude. Like, what do you want to convince people about emotional intelligence, you monkey? Like, what are you trying to do here? Aren't you a dentist? Aren't you a painter? You know, like." Oh, you got after 9 months, well, you got 450 subscribers. Congrats, dude. Applause. You know. And I know in my heart of hearts that it is the thing that I need to be doing, because it's the thing that I enjoy probably some of the most in life, is connecting with a lot of people and hopefully changing people's lives in some sort of positive sense. So I will continue to pursue it. And the persistence of the thing, and the marathon nature of the thing keeps me moving forward, because it gives me this endless road to run down. It's like there's no there's no stopping here and just looking at shit, you know, for an extended period of time. I must move forward. I must try new things. And that's a problem that people that are on the journey of personal development develop. Is the problem is not knowing when to stop walking, not knowing when to hold back. And so, for instance, I'm a drummer. Actually, behind this green screen is a drum kit, and I have an album coming out in the next week, actually. But this will probably be after the video. Maybe the album will be linked in the descriptions below. We'll see what the team does. But the reality is, when I first started learning drums, instruments are crazy because it's something that, you know, people want to know, but they require just a tremendous amount of time and commitment. And what I did was, obviously, when you first start off, you do your rudiments and you try to figure out, hopefully you spend some time communicating with people. Music is a language to me, so having a jam session, having anyone in the room while you're doing that stuff and riffing off of them, I think is a phenomenal way to get into music, because it makes it not so rote in general. I watched a lot of videos. I watched a lot of videos on Drumeo, of expert drummers that were suggesting certain techniques, were suggesting certain philosophies, talking about their stories. I genuinely enjoyed learning about drumming as an art, as a form of expression. And through all of these videos, one of the things that I didn't realize at the time, I thought it was wrong. I really did, because I was like, oh, there's a certain style that I have, and there's I like to groove, and I don't like doing all these chops and stuff. One of the drummers said, listen, when you're young, it's okay to hit all the shit. It's okay to play too much. That's fine. Start from a place where you're playing too much. Then you can get it out. Then you can really explore, right? Get to that point, and then you can start taking things away and making it stylish. And so that's different. That complexity is different for everyone, but that lesson applies to life. Really, it does. Do it so much that you know exactly when you need to stop. And that is when you're being taken for granted, when you need to put up boundaries in general. You need to, in my personal opinion, there needs to be a significant amount of motivation to set a goal that is rational for you. Usually that comes from a deep place of depression or self-loathing, or just a circumstance that puts you in a corner. Usually that goal is set at that time. If you're experiencing that in your life right now, I am so sorry, but I'm here to kick your ass and say, go and set that goal now. Spend the time before you go down even steeper, deeper, darker places. Not worth your time. Be a light for humanity. Genuinely. It'll make you feel better about living. Setting that goal, having that discipline, and then just pushing, and doing it, realizing you hit a wall, do it again, maybe break through the wall, go around it if you think if it's not even something worth doing. And network, surround yourself with people that have big goals too. Like your social circle, that thing that your makeup of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Yeah, absolutely. And I shoot myself in the foot sometimes because I'm like, oh, you know, I wanna spend time with my family and they're this and that, but dude, my family's not where I want to be. Chances are your family's not where you want to be, right? Hopefully there's a level of evolution occurring through the generations. So does that mean that I spend all of my time with my family? Probably not. I would ideally spend time with a lot of people that have the same goals as I do, and build things that align with how I want to live. You might say that's super selfish, Turab. I agree, but if I'm not helping myself, if I'm not feeling better about myself and improving myself, how useful am I really to my family? And that's not this convoluted way of saying it. I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. But the dividends for doing it for me is necessarily beneficial to everyone around me. Jim Rohn said he stopped saying, "Hey, do this for me, do this, and I'll do this for you." That's no longer my version of taking and giving. My version of taking and giving come directly from Jim Rohn, where you be 10 times better than you are now for me, and I will be 10 times better than I am for you. More opportunities, more resources, more love, more laughter, more spirituality, more context, more perspective. Imagine what that's capable of doing for the people around us. Setting barriers is the only way to end up becoming that better version of ourselves, blocking out that time to actually do the better thing. So hopefully you found this interesting. If you did, smash that thumbs up button, that like button, throw me a comment on something that you're struggling with. Maybe I can help you out and actualize your potential catalyst. This world needs you. Take care of yourself and check out this video. Peace.